Hello everybody, and welcome back to another White Guy video essay. Today, I want to talk about one of my favorite genres of gaming, and that is the hardcore series. Hardcore is a derivative of usually most other first-person shooter games, meaning you die a lot quicker, you die in one bullet sometimes, and you're typically meant to just work with a team more often for the objectives and less than kills. COD used to be one of my favorite versions of the hardcore series, having its own hardcore playlist for the longest time, and I would go in and play a lot of that during World War II, Modern Warfare 2019, but sadly, as the games have grown older, and so have I've changed my tastes, and I don't like hardcore as much as I used to, so now I went out and looking for more hardcore games. I love the hardcore series. I love it so much, but my problems stems from the amount of time that you need to put into them. Games like Arma, Squad, and many of those bigger milsim-esque games tend to lead themselves into a problem where you need to be the gear in the machine and not the bigger whole hero. You don't have those bigger whole hero moments anymore. You're left being the gear in the machine. And that's not a problem. That is what the design and the intent is for those games. But I still have a little bit of a soft spot for that old COD hardcore, where you did just kind of spawn in, and yes, you may have died in one bullet, but so did everyone else. Everyone else played by the same rules. It was arcadey, it was a little bit of action, a little bit of fun. And I haven't been able to find something like that too much. There's only been a couple games that have really pushed a arcadey hardcore aspect into it, that being like Rising Storm 2, Hell Let Loose to a certain extent. Actually, I take that back. I say Insurgency Sandstorm, my bad. Insurgency Sandstorm and really Rising Storm have been the only two that have pushed that hardcore arcade-like aspect until recently. During the time of 2016, there was a joke that was running around of, all of our shooters are bad. We don't have a good shooter. So why don't we go play a Gettysburg shooter? We go play a Civil War shooter. And everyone joked and laughed and said, ha ha, how stupid would that be to sit there and load a musket for 30 seconds? But some people didn't. And some people took that to heart. And they made it a fantastic game that is unlike anything that I've ever seen before.
Since I crossed the hill and over the moorland sedgy, such heavy thoughts my heart do fill, since parting from my Sally. I seek no more the finding gay, for each does just remind me how sweet the hours I passed away with the girl I left behind me.
Holdfast started its life around 2017, around when everyone else was trying to make their hardcore games and trying to reinvigorate the hardcore series. It takes a 17th century look upon hardcore gaming. Now, you would think that with trying to reload a musket and trying to stay within the milsim area, that this game would be very sweaty, very out there, and very, very hardcore. But no, it's actually one of the most fun and lax games that I've ever played in the last couple of years, leading to a lot of iconic moments that are used now for marketing in the game. The "Give 'em Steel, lads" clip is one of the most synonymous with this game. It takes what I love from hardcore gaming, the community aspect, the working as a team with a random group of strangers and working towards a goal to try and win out over everyone, but also being as goofy as you can along the way to try and do it, using accents, using probably some of the worst humor that you've ever heard in your life. But at the end of the day, it is like COD Modern Warfare 2 lobby all over again, with about 100 different people screaming at each other, trying to kill each other. And it leads to some of the most fun that you've ever seen. Now, this game is more of a class-based shooter. Meaning that you go in, you pick a class, and you go in to have a fight. There's not too many differences between the classes. you melee better, you shoot better and reload better. There's really not that many of a difference. The only ones that really have a difference is if you play cannons, you play horses, or you play as the captain. Those are really the only ones that have a difference in them, and the riflemen. But the riflemen, you only have 6 of them per team, so you won't really notice them too much. They only just get increased range. But that leads to nobody having a difference. Nobody has an edge over somebody else, and it's always somebody could die within one round or with one bad mistake. And it leads to an absolute mosh pit of people with bayonets, musket fire, and pistols going off left and right, and cannons exploding with rockets going all around you. And it leads to an absolute chaos of an event that you just can't be prepared for. One moment you could be storming the gates of an entire fortress, and the next moment you could be staring down the battery of a loaded cannon, and you're charging right at it going up the hill, trying to take out the enemy encampment. It all leads to this great crescendo of action and fun. And the game modes themselves lead to this very nonchalant kind of style of game mode. You have your basic TDM with a large 50v50 game mode. Then you have your Conquest, a very simple, everyone kind of knows it, 3 points to capture, 3 points to win. If you hold more than 2 of the points for a longer set period of time, you will eventually win the game. And then the other one, which is I think one of my favorites, and actually kind of original, is Siege. Siege Fortress, where one team is holding, one team is attacking. And you guys get to fight for this giant fortress in the middle of the map. It leads to some incredible moments where people are holding the line to the last man standing, over trying to throw tables over, shooting muskets down the barricades, and trying to keep these men off the wall. It is absolutely heroic, and it leads to some amazing Alamo moments where you're all sitting there trying to stop the enemy from coming up over the stairwell, and sitting there huddled together, watching the stairs as a French charge pushes up the stairs. Now, I've been holding out on you guys. I've been holding out on you just a little bit. Because Holdfast does not just have this line infantry game mode. It actually has 2 other modes to its name. And the one of them I couldn't even talk about, because I would go on an entire tangent by itself. And the other one is World War I. I haven't played too much of the World War I because I've been so absolutely enamored by these 2 game modes that I cannot stop playing. Just these 2 alone. And that is the Age of Sail update that has just come out for Holdfast not too long ago. Absolutely some of the greatest sailing mechanics that I have ever seen. Some of the greatest sailing combat you will have ever seen. Actual sailing mechanics that matter towards gameplay. Actual cannons and cannon mechanics that actually work towards bettering your cannoneers and actually mattering towards your shot. Orders for your crew that actually not only work for the ship itself, but actually help your team understand what's needed to go on right now in the side of the ship. It is an absolute masterpiece that a small indie team did what so many AAA developers have been trying to do forever, and that is figure out Assassin's Creed 4. They have never been able to figure out what the beauty is of Assassin's Creed 4, and this game has single-handedly done it. The ability to command and lead a ship full-heartedly without anybody else telling you what to do is what this game does. You get a crew of 12 men who are all randoms to try and lead this ship. And that is something that I've never seen any game do before. Not even games that have devoted themselves to that aspect. And with the Age of Sail, we get a ton of new game modes. You get your classic Conquest and your classic TDM, but then you get your classic Naval Siege. You guys on the attacking team now get boats. You get boats to try and throw them at the entire fortress that you're trying to siege. You get rocket boats, cannons, gunboats, and even landing schooners that you can literally drive into the side of the fortress like it's a D-Day fucking boat. It's crazy to see how much variety there is in just a small game that has taken over 10 years of development cycle. It is an absolute masterpiece in gaming, and even has some people still talking about it today. One of the reasons why I wanted to make this video, too, on top of just how much I've absolutely been thrilled by this experience, is Grande, one of the greatest memesters of all time, has made a video out of the blue about actually making content for Holdfast. At first, I was very confused about why there was a lot of copywritten music, a lot of Smash Mouth, a lot of different rock music, and it was actually because of Grande himself putting in music assets for people to play on the pipers and the drums and shit. And that's something I haven't even told you about either. There's actually drums, fifers, and pipers. Yes, you can play an instrument like the idiot you are in a 17th century line infantry battle. You can be the guy who's actually walking out there with his trumpet and his little drum going out there. That is how unserious this game is. And I love it to its absolute core. With that being said, everybody, I think that you should play more serious, unserious games. Games that actually take their time and appreciate what they're trying to approach, with their art style, with what they're giving you, and how serious they're trying to take just what the setting and their story is. Because if they don't, they tend to lead to a more divergence from what they originally intended. And that has been shown throughout multiple times, throughout many of the games that we've recently seen in our recent years. And it's fun to see a couple developers are still out there trying to hold true to what they think is a good game. And I think this year, more than ever, we're going to see that games like Holdfast and games that are taking true accountability for what they're trying to show is going to shine bright. And that being said, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the essay today. It has been White Guy Video Essay. I love you all. Bye-bye.